It's 26 degrees out here. And what I've done is, I've left a bottle of water out here overnight. So what I'm gonna do is see if it's still liquid, but it's 26 degrees. So let's see if we can get it to do the whole freezing trick. Look at that. Isn't that something? That's pretty cool. In downtown, beautiful Chattanooga, what I'm gonna do today is I've got the D810 and then a 35 to 135 zoom lens. Now I'm shooting it on the D810 because a subscriber wrote in and asked me if I could do a test on it to see what the image results would look like shooting that lens on that camera body. So I put the system together and I'm gonna try to get a few shots today and get some at 35 mil, some at 135, you know, and try to get a range of exposures, you know, try to shoot some wide open, some of them stop down a little bit, and see what comes with this lens. Now, I know the autofocus on it is going to be a little slow because it's screwdriver focus, but that's okay because it's, you know, a $100 lens. It's push-pull zoom, so that's another thing you got to contend with. Now I'm in the bright sunlight. I bet that changed exposures. So let's see what we can find to take some photos of in Chattanooga. They made two varieties of this lens, this one being the earlier of the two. It has an external focus ring that actually moves when you focus the lens. Let's see if you can tell. See how it moves? All right, so you can't hold the focus ring while you're focusing in autofocus. To focus manually, I will actually have to switch the camera to manual focus, and that'll decouple that ring to where I can actually drive it manually. To zoom the lens, it's literally a push-pull zoom. You just pull it in and out. Most of these lenses that saw service have zoom creep. Mine has minimal creep because it's fairly unused. It's pretty much a new lens from the period. So I don't have issues with zoom creep. Typically, you'll see these lenses, if they had some use, that lens will slowly creep out of that barrel. But I think it rides on an O-ring in there, and that O-ring gets worn over time, but mine's in pretty good shape. It does have a functionality on it to allow you to do macro. You have to pull it all the way in to 35 mil, seat it all the way to the back, push this silver button on top, and then you can rotate it around and it allows you to focus a lot closer. Not real sure what the minimum focus distance is in macro mode, but it is literally about 8 inches from the front of the lens without going into this macro functionality. And it says it goes all the way down to f/35. If you want to stop it down, gets a little bit of depth of field that actually marks on the lens here, f/35. Once you lock this back in place, it allows you to telescope the lens and get the other various zoom ranges. You know, they're all marked on top for reference here. You got 35, 50, 70, and 135 all marked on the lens for quick reference if you know, if you want to shoot portraits or what have you. The lens's native focus distance without going into that macro function is about 4 feet or so, I have found. It's marked on the lens at 5 feet, but it'll actually focus just a smidge closer than that. So, you know, if you want the autofocus to do its job, the minimum it needs to be to the lens is about 5 feet, which isn't exceptionally good, but it's better than nothing. It actually has pretty good sharpness at 35 and 135 across the range. I experimented, as you can see with the pictures I'm interspersing here. The actual images look pretty good. I'm doing some cropping here and there to get some composition because I was across the street on several of these photos, and because of that I couldn't actually get in close to get good shots. And I was struggling from time to time getting people walking down the sidewalks and things. The lens is fairly heavy. It's all aluminum construction, so it's, you know, it's well built. Mine came with the lens hood, which was a perk. I wasn't expecting to get a lens hood. The lens hood does rotate with the focus. Let's see if I can get it to, there we go. Yeah, so you know, you can't touch the front half of the lens with autofocus going. They give you a real generous barrel to hold on to for the zoom ring to push and pull against, and that allows you to hold the camera and then focus, you know, and it not be a real big issue. See, you know, so they give you somewhere to put your hand that doesn't interfere with focusing. They thought that through. For the price, this is a really nice little lens. It will pair well with the D200. It being a crop sensor camera, that turns this lens kind of effectively. We all know the story. But it'll make it about like a 50 to 170 zoom. So, you know, it gives you a mid-range zoom. And all of the corner artifacts that this lens has, because it has some, it cuts all those out because it's just cutting the center out of the circle of projection anyway. So it actually works out to the better to run it on a crop sensor camera. That's my review of this lens. And would I suggest buying it? Yeah, I ain't got a problem with this lens. This is actually a pretty nice little lens. For a variable aperture lens, you know, if you're going to shoot it in aperture priority or, you know, program mode where you're just trying to capture activity and you're not really worried about doing special compositions or whatever and just want to get the shot, this ain't a bad lens. It actually works really well. With that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and let's go out and take some pictures. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.